Hello, my name is Emily, as you may or may not know, and today we're going to be talking about promposals. I've never been asked to homecoming or prom in like a fancy way. Most of the time I was not asked at all. There was one time that I've been asked to a dance and it was to homecoming, and I remember because I was standing in the lunch line, chicken fingers in hand, and then all of a sudden he just goes,
"Do you want to go to homecoming with me?"
and then I just was like, what? Anyways, promposals can be quite a big deal for some people. I mean, y'all really go all out. Listen, I'm not a picky person. I don't mind being straight up asked like I was in the lunch line, and I don't mind, gestures, flowers and chocolates or, things like that. But today we are going to look at promposals that would make me go, yeah, I think I'm just gonna go with my friends. I'm not putting my clothes back on unless you go with me to prom. So, I mean, is his bare butt just exposed to the elements right now? I'm imagining her just like really taking her time answering, like, can I get back to you in a few days? And he's just standing there in the parking lot. Nipples free, cheeks out. And it says he's not putting his clothes back on unless you go with him to prom, so what if she says no? I mean, he just joins a nudist colony. I'm assuming if she says no and then he just never puts his clothes back on, that he probably won't be allowed to go back to school because, I mean, the only dress code rule for boys is really just don't show up naked. With girls, it's like no jeggings, no tank tops, skirts need to be knee length, and then with guys, it's just like don't show up naked and start helicoptering in the hallway. Let me take your ass to prom. I hope this, wasn't a pun. Like, he just really wants to take her actual donkey to prom. She's like, oh my god, Trevor, yes, I'll go to prom with you. And he's like,
"I didn't ask you to prom. I asked your donkey."
He shows up and, rides the donkey into prom. The donkey's wearing a dress from, Forever 21 or something. Or another interpretation of this is that he just wants to take her literal butt to prom and not the rest of her body. He's only paying attention to her butt the whole night. Well, I mean, I guess a lot of guys might do that anyways, right? Go to homecoming with me or I will leak your nudes. So, in my humble opinion, this is just the worst. It's the worst. I mean, it's blackmail, pretty much. And not only is the actual message terrible, but I mean, the sign looks like it was made in 14 seconds. I'm really hoping that this is just some sort of inside joke between them and he doesn't actually mean it. I mean, I would like to believe that no one would actually do this, but you know what? Men, you continue to surprise me every day, so who knows? I just wonder what her reaction was. I'm imagining her talking about this with all her friends. Jake asked me to homecoming with flowers and candy. Gabe asked me with a teddy bear and a sign. Cool, yeah. Trevor threatened to leak my naked photos if I didn't go with him, so. What? Yeah, he threatened to plaster my social security number on a billboard too. So. So this is really bad. For your health. Really bad. Cancerous. I'm just imagining the employee at the tanning salon being like, you want a what? Will you be the chicken to my nugget at prom? So, this is just really horrifying. Imagine, one day you're just like, oh, that Chipotle really didn't agree with me. I gotta go hit the pot. And then you enter the bathroom and you see this. I mean, I don't even think I would see the sign. I think I would just see the body-shaped, taped-up thing in the bathtub and call the police. I'm just, is someone in there? I would like to believe that it's just stuffing or something like that, because if someone is actually in there, I mean, the whole thing honestly just looks like if McDonald's started making horror movies. Imagine being the person in there, one day your friend's just like, hey buddy, can you help me out with my promposal? And you're like, sure, what, do you need me to get markers to help you make a sign or flowers or something like this? He's like, no, I need to cover you in paper, tape you up, and then lay you down in her bathtub and cover you in chicken nuggets. Also, kind of just a waste of chicken nuggets. I understand why they're necessary for the pun, but it's also I mean, you can't eat them now. Or I mean, I guess you could, but they're probably cold and gross and have made contact with your bathtub, so this is a fake arrest promposal. So I'm just gonna read the description for it. Being pulled over by the cops is terrifying enough, let alone getting arrested for no reason at all. An attempt to think outside the typical promposal box, or maybe to scare the poor guy into saying yes, one bold girl somehow convinced the local cops to pull over her date and fake arrest him, cuffs and all, while she waited in the back of the police car with a sign that said prom. Putting your crush through the ringer isn't the best way to get them psyched for prom, but in this case it seemed to have worked. I mean, it worked, so. I can't believe that the cops would be on board with this. I feel like she must have like a dad or an uncle who like is in law enforcement to like arrange that, because can you imagine like showing up at the local police station and being like,
"Hi, can you fake arrest this random boy so he'll go to prom with me?"
I feel like the police would be like, "Ma'am, like, we just had like 6 murders last night. I don't think we can help. You know, like, we have better things to do." Also, even though, like, yeah, no one obviously got hurt, like, the whole thing is like kind of like a prank promposal type thing, but is it a little bit illegal? Is it a little bit illegal? I mean, to me, it seems a little bit illegal. But I personally would absolutely hate this. Of course, I've had good interactions with cops, and like, there have been. Side note, I was in a car accident once and I had to call the police. The cop who helped me was so nice. Like, he was so sweet because I was like really freaking out, like crying, like blah, blah, blah. Why my car? I wrecked my car. Yeah, I was on my way to see Spider-Man Homecoming and now I can't even see the movie, blah, blah, blah. And he was really, really nice about it. But overall, any situation with a cop really scares me and stresses me out. One time I got pulled over and I got so scared and overwhelmed that my whole body broke out into hives. So first of all, getting pulled over and not knowing why I'm getting pulled over, if that happened to me, I would be sobbing, rashes forming all over my body. Like, I'm not even sure if the person would want to ask me to prom anymore after seeing me like that. So, that's a tattoo that will be on him forever. I really want to believe that it's a temporary tattoo or like a prank or something like that, but there is an energy that's just emitting from this photo that tells me it is 100% real. I believe, as the tattoo artist, you have a moral obligation to just, you know, like, bring him to the side and just say, "Buddy, do you really want to do this?" I'm just imagining this guy is just covered in tattoos now. It's just like the way he invites people to things. He has a chest piece that says, "Brunch at Panera at 11. They're like, "Oh no, I don't think 11 would work for me." And then just right under it, it says, "How about 10:15? You know, just positive spin on this. If you've ever felt like you've made some questionable decisions in your life, it could be much worse. You know what? I wouldn't mind this, really. I like Big Macs. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, "Oh, that's my dream promposal. I've always wanted someone to ask me to the big dance via fast food." Like, would I prefer flowers or some other sort of gesture? Probably yes, but this is still something I would probably accept, as long as it came with fries. I'm not trying to be quirky or anything. I'm just, you know, you have to be realistic and think, okay, so this person did ask me to prom with a Big Mac, but were there fries with it? You really have to like think like pros and cons. So if it did come with fries and ketchup, I would lean more towards yes. If not, I think I would have to tell that young man to scurry along. This is definitely creative. I've certainly never seen it done before. I mean, this method really only works for guys though, because if girls were to try this, we would get arrested, so. Because she said no, I'm just kind of imagining him just lowering his shirt in sadness. You know, it's like when you try to throw something into the trash can and then you miss and then you have to like go pick it up and it's like sad and awkward, but this is just like much worse. You know that thing people used to do when you would write a note and be like,
"Will you go out with me?" or like, "Want to meet on Club Penguin later?" or "Can we trade Littlest Pet Shops at recess? Check yes or no."
Those types of notes. It's like, this is like that, but more intense and more prone to fail. If you were Harry Styles doing this though, you would have 4 options. He has 4 nipples, right? That's like a thing. Harry Styles is really the only person who can make having multiple nipples somehow sexy and alluring. Anyways, on to the next promposal. So, I am just one girl in a sea of many. My opinion really doesn't matter. However, I will say that to me, this is really gross. I mean, I guess you could always just take the M&Ms off so you can eat the pizza and not waste it, but I'm just like, why wouldn't you just use pizza toppings to spell out prom if you're planning to do that on a pizza? To me, it makes sense to use pizza toppings. That's like if I got you an ice cream cake that said prom, but I spelled out prom using mustard. Like, it just doesn't go together. It's gross. So when I first saw this, I wasn't exactly sure what it was, but then I took a closer look and realized it's a raw chicken breast with prom carved into it. And you know, I really try to be grateful for any type of gesture, something that shows you obviously were thinking of me. I always try to appreciate it no matter what it was. However, I will say this gives me serial killer vibes. Like, if you would have told me that this is how Charles Manson asked his high school girlfriend to prom, I would have been like, ding, 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 that makes sense. And imagine like handing this to someone at school, like everyone else is getting signs and stuffed animals and chocolate, flowers, whatever, and then this guy just approaches you with a raw chicken breast. Like, how did you get asked to prom? I got salmonella. So yeah, I mean, this is just not great. I think I'd rather have the Big Mac option than this. This one is better than the raw chicken. Then again, that's a pretty low bar. I mean, you know, it's not every girl's fairy tale, is it? Like, oh, I feel that I've been wasting my youth away, just yearning for my Prince Charming to one day come and ask me to the big dance using stale KFC chicken fingers and potato wedges. I mean, again, it could definitely be worse. You know, no one's threatening to leak anyone's nude photos. But like I said, low bar. I bought you flowers, so will you go to prom with me? This one's punny and all, but when I first saw this, I imagined like instead of putting in individual bags of flour into her locker, just pouring in loose flour. Like, she opens up her locker and sees all this loose flour. She thinks the drug cartel stopped by and just gave her like 13 pounds of cocaine. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys are going to prom, please make sure to be safe and make good choices. You are all my children, so I expect you to behave accordingly. Also, I know a lot of you, my age demographic is like my age and we're not going to prom anymore. But maybe if you had unprotected sex and you had you have a child who's going, that actually wouldn't make sense, because if I'm 21 and you have a child who's going to prom, that would mean they would have to be 15 to 18. I'm 21. It's impossible to have a child when you are 3 to 7 years old. Whatever. If you're going to prom, just make good choices. Make good choices in life in general, all right? I know a lot of you guys are maybe older and not going to prom, but some of you maybe are going to. Okay, I'm sorry. Don't forget to subscribe, and until next time, I'm sorry I just blabbered about nothing but what's new. You guys know me, it's fine.